So today is a juicy topic for you, and I know it resonates with a lot of people. I actually have a story to share about how this even came about. But we hear this all the time. I don't like posting on social media. It's a pain point for me. I don't enjoy it. It's tedious. It's burdensome, but I know it's important. So, what's the solution, or do you have any suggestions for me? And I want to start off by sharing how this topic even came about. So, from the last event that we were at, we were panelists at this event in Vegas, and we spoke on the topic of, as usual, right, YouTube and creating a profitable content system. But in speaking to a lot of the people at that event, and this wasn't the first time this happened, but speaking to a lot of people, the thing that kept coming up over and over again was, I know I really should get on posting on YouTube or posting on social media. It's just, I can't bring myself to do it. It was like you could really tell it was such a pain point for people, but they felt this pressure, like, I know I should do it, but I don't enjoy it. And so this is a reoccurring theme that comes up over and over again when we talk to people. And actually, I'm part of a mastermind, and a few sessions back, there was a speaker talking about LinkedIn. So the whole discussion in that mastermind happened around social media marketing and using social media to market your brand and your business. And one of the ladies actually broke into tears because she was just so, you could really tell it's such a pain point for people, the stress and the overwhelm in what kind of post to create, and is it good enough, and should I release it, and how often should I release it, and how do I, all the skills involved in content creation too, right? Like creating the videos and, staying consistent with it. And it's a lot. It can be a lot. The question is, what do you do? What are the suggestions there? And I just want to say, even though we teach creating profitable content and all about YouTube and stuff, I struggle with this too. Like, full transparency, I'm really good at releasing content on YouTube, but when it comes to like content on other platforms, it takes a lot more energy for me to do that and to come up with ideas and that sort of thing. There's different ways to go about it, and there's different approaches that you can take. And so we just want to kind of stir some of those ideas and just get the discussion rolling on that too. And hopefully one of these ideas will land and spark something within you. So Jewel, do you want to start off with, what would you say to someone who says, I don't like posting on social media, but I know it's important. What should I do?
Well, first I want to touch upon what the current narrative is going on and around, and exactly why people are feeling like this is because people put out there that you need to be on everything and you need to post. But I remember, I think it was Gary Vee or somebody saying you need to post 100 times a day, whether it be
I remember that.
30 tweets and some posts there and there. And then it was like, whoa, 100 posts a day.
Yeah.
He's still saying that now, but I definitely remember in the like 2015, 2016 era, he was definitely saying like, do 100 posts a day. You don't have to be on all those platforms, but what I will say is you need to choose the right platform for you, right? That you're going to get the most leverage out of, because we often run into people and they're like, oh, I hate Instagram or whatever it is, the social media platform, insert name, right? And they're like, but I'm posting on there. And I'm like, well, if you hate it, then why are you posting on there? There, each platform has its pros and cons, but there's probably one out of all of them that you may gravitate towards more so than the others. Now, ours of choice is YouTube because I looked at all of them. There was a time where I looked at Facebook, I looked at Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, blogging and all of them. And I was like, which ones do we actually like in terms of the form of content, right? So whether it's like Twitter is typing, right? at like very short bite-sized stuff, and then blogging is long writing. And so I looked at all of them. Which one do I like, right? And which one has to do with video, because that's what I like. I'm into video. And which one has the most leverage, right? And so that's how we landed on YouTube. And it's really interesting because, yeah, you see a lot of people posting about how you need to post on your Facebook all the time and every day, and Instagram every day, and you need to do a tweet, and you need to do that, and you do that. And it's like, we don't even do that. But yet we get calls every week from organic leads that want to purchase our services and our course sales and whatever else is happening on our YouTube channel, right?
Yeah.
So and there are times where I do feel like posting, and I'm on a posting spree for like 2 weeks, right? But honestly, if a life event has happened, I don't feel like posting. I remember like my aunt died in 2020, and I like didn't post for like almost 4 or 5 months on Facebook and Instagram. I still did the YouTube videos because I was able to do YouTube videos because they were separate from emotion, in my opinion. It was like teaching a how-to tutorial, so I didn't have much emotion attached towards it. Emotional, like I didn't feel like posting a photo of me eating dinner and I'm like freaking sad, right? I would feel like fake doing that. So I literally had to wait until I was done being sad before I could post like stuff like that again. And I think the problem is when there is stuff going on, but they're like, oh, I didn't post, 2 times a day or whatever it was, but they're like sad and they don't even want to post. So that's a myth, that you need to first be on all platforms and that you need to post every day.
You said so many different things that I want to comment on. So yes, first of all, don't feel the pressure to have to be everywhere, like on all platforms, because it's not necessary for success. Like you got to come back to why would someone even post on social media? Like, what is your goal with posting on social media? What do you want to get out of it? Because if it's like, let's say, I want to do this because it'll help me get more clients for my business. Well, you can do that in so many other ways. It doesn't just have to be posting on social media. It doesn't have to be posting on all platforms either. You have to find the approach that works for you. And for us, we started off trying to post everywhere and ended up being nowhere because it was just too stressful. It was wearing us out pretty thin. So that's why we went all in with what we enjoyed most, which was YouTube and video, and it felt easier too. But the other thing that you said, Jewel, is like during the time when your aunt had passed away, it was hard for you to like post a picture and like say, this is what I'm having for lunch or whatever it is, like those kinds of casual posts, personal posts. But it felt easier for you to post a video because it's like a teaching how-to tutorial type video.
It's almost like it had nothing to do with me. It's
Yeah.
just knowledge in my brain.
Yeah. And see, this is like what we want. This is the kind of thing that we want to help people see is the perspective of what marketing is. Like the only form of marketing that we do, I would say, okay, maybe not only, but like 98% of the marketing that we do online is through posting video on YouTube. And it's, it doesn't even feel like marketing because what those videos are us teaching, us sharing our knowledge on different topics. I love teaching and I'm good at it. I know that I can explain, I have a way of explaining complex topics in really simple way. That is a form of marketing, but it doesn't feel like marketing. So I think changing the perspective of what marketing is and not having it feel like this chore or like this, because a lot of people too slip into the whole thing of, oh, I don't want to be too salesy. It feels icky to like promote my services but you don't have to outright, like not every post has to be like this sales post or whatever. You gotta really find what type of content you resonate with most. For us, it's like how-to educational stuff. But for you, maybe it's just like, it could be um, sharing other people's content that really inspires you and you just love doing that. Or like, maybe it's just sharing your thoughts around the topic, like the how to think about this topic rather than the how to do this topic. Like there's so many different ways. Or you could do interviews and just make it easier and have someone else in that piece of content and have it engage in a discussion or an interview, right? You got to try different things in order to see what feels lighter to you, because I think the issue is with the struggles with posting on social media comes with having to try to fit yourself into a box, because people say you have to create content like this. You have to post this many times. You have to post on these platforms. The text in the post has to be structured like this. And so it's like, it becomes really, really overwhelming to think of all of these rules, and especially if it doesn't suit you. But from our experience, like what we've learned is just, everything can work. It has to work for you first, because that is the way that it's going to stay consistent. Because there's no point in you trying to make a certain strategy or something work when you're just going to end up burning out, and it's not going to end up working for you. I'm going to say I agree, Tracy. I also go in spurts here. So you say I go in spurts where I send a few posts to Instagram and TikTok, then it falls off of my list of tasks. Yeah, same thing for me. Like I'll go in and out with posting on Instagram and on Facebook too. Those are my other platforms. YouTube, in a sense. I mean, even still, like sometimes we'll pause on YouTube videos, but YouTube just feels easier because we've worked that muscle so much of just sharing our knowledge and in the form of video that it just flows more.
It's funny. It's technically the hardest one because everybody sees it as the hardest one, but it's the easiest for us. Like,
Yeah.
we will do a bunch of videos and have them all scheduled before we'll do like a written Facebook post.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
know. It's because like, I mean, I think it's because video in itself is like, it involves so many different skills. And I mean, we had to learn that. Like it's not like, we just knew what to do. It's it came with like little by little, like figuring out, okay, how do you film a video? And like honestly, it took me hours to film my first video. But it gets easier. It gets easier with more practice. And I think the more you can connect to why you're doing it, the more likelihood you'll be able to like pull yourself through those moments of like, oh, I don't feel like it. Like for me, the way that I measure success with posting on social media and stuff is just seeing those comments that come through. And especially when I feel like the video sucked when I filmed it, but like the comments are like, thank you so much for filming this. You saved my day. We get that all the time. You saved my life. You saved my day. It's like a tutorial on how to upload a banner on Facebook or something like crazy like that.
Yeah. Or they'll say like, thanks watching from Dubai, or thanks watching from Switzerland, or like all over. That's actually one of my favorite comments is when they just do a simple thanks, but they tell me where they're watching from, because I'm so fascinated. It still blows me away that people are 24/7 watching our stuff like all over the world because of the way we built our YouTube channel, and it's a content machine.
And Tracy says, posting on social media platforms other than YouTube depends on my mood. Sometimes I'm just needing some quick attention or instant gratification. That is easy to get on some platforms. I
That's
love
fun.
that you said that. Yeah, no, totally. I mean, this is what happens, right? It's like, oh, if I feel like it, if I feel like sharing this on Facebook or Instagram. but I feel like that's okay. Like, again, I think a lot of people are really hard on themselves, and like get super stressed out that they didn't post. But it's okay as long as you're still working towards that goal of whatever you want social media to do for you, like whatever you want, whatever that why is, whatever the goal of why you would want to post on social media is. As long as you're making progress with that, that can be done in many different ways, and it doesn't have to be tied to like this huge cloud over your head of needing to post on social media every day, multiple times a day, as the gurus say.
I want to play devil's advocate here,
Mhm.
Marie. And I want to say, let's say we didn't have the YouTube channel. Would you consider our posting on Facebook and Instagram adequate? For me, I would be like, no, it's not. It wouldn't be good enough, because I've come to the conclusion that if you have a business and or you want to make money online, you need to promote yourself in some
Yes.
form. Either you do it and you learn how to do it, or you pay someone to do it, but it needs to be done. Because like I said, if you have a business and you need customers, clients, sales, if you want to
Yeah.
make money online, you have to do some form of marketing. So if we did not have the YouTube channel and it was currently what is being sprayed out on my Facebook and Instagram, I'd be like, no, that's not, like, I would need to step it up or be more strategic, or hire someone, honestly.
Yeah. So for me, I would, because I don't particularly flow well with posting on Instagram and Facebook. Like it just doesn't jive as well as me like filming and producing videos for the YouTube channel. I mean, I guess you could produce videos for YouTube, or sorry, for Instagram and Facebook too. But another method that I would do, because I know I enjoy connecting with people in person, like I would be at more networking events, honestly. I would be talking to people.
Right now, that's I would say, our
That's
second
what we're
form.
doing.
We
Yeah.
have been very strategic in joining a, what would you call it? Like a mastermind group. We're part of the guild, the Femfluence Guild. And that was a strategic decision to do, because we were like, we need to be aligned with the right people and the right partnerships. And
Yeah.
I remember the saying, your net worth is your network, and I was like, what does that mean? And now I get it. I totally get it now, and it makes sense. And it's like, it can accelerate you with just one correct partnership, one really good partnership, one really great mentor can just explode you. It's
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. And I mean, like on the flip side, you can't expect to grow your business. Like Jewel was saying, you can't expect to get to those goals that you want in terms of growing your business and your revenue without doing anything. But this whole discussion here is like finding what works for you, the approach for you, and not feeling like you need to do everything. Like you need to post on all platforms and you need to do it this way and it has to be perfect and this and that, because you don't need, like, that is successful, that works for that person, that strategy works for that person, but it doesn't mean that there's not another strategy out there that's not going to work for you. We've really found that the strategy or the process or whatever it is that you can stay consistent with, that is the gold strategy. That is the gold mine, because consistency at the end of the day of you putting yourself out there and staying visible, that is going to create way bigger change than you trying to do something, like off of a video, like create content like this, and then it doesn't actually, like, you just don't resonate with it. Roland is saying, yeah, it's draining to think of what to post. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different steps to the content creation process and marketing on social media, and each of those steps requires energy. And with working with a lot of people, like we manage a handful of YouTube channels for our clients, right? So we've really started to notice like the strategy that works for us in terms of coming up with ideas doesn't necessarily work for other people. So again, the question comes, what feels and flows easier when it comes to create, like coming up with ideas? For some people, actually for a lot of our clients, what helps is just having someone else, aka us, asking them questions, like frequently asked questions that their customer or client would normally ask them, or giving them a prompt and then just letting them talk on that prompt. That just answering questions like that has been way easier for some people in terms of creating content, creating videos, than actually thinking from scratch themselves, like, well, what should I create? So again, it's, you got to try different things. But at still, like, I still try to push myself and set a time slot for generating ideas, and whatever comes out of that comes out of that. And I can't be attached to like, oh, I didn't come up with 20 ideas. I came up with 3. And that's okay. That's 3 more than I had before.
We do actually, like, I personally want to get better at writing more thoughtful posts on, let's say, a Facebook.
Yeah.
Because every now and then I've done a couple of good ones that I've saved, but honestly, it was like almost like a download. Like, it just came to me and it like kind of just wrote itself. But every time I'm like blank and then I try to force some story or force something out of me, it doesn't really happen. So YouTube videos and ideas, they flow out of us. Like, people would just be talking and I'll be like, that's a YouTube video, that's a YouTube video, that's a YouTube video. And so I've worked that part of my brain really well, where I need to now work the writing posts, like Facebook type posts. Now, I'm not going to be doing like every day or anything, but I just want to put more of my thoughts out there, and what I think and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
my stories, I have so many stories, I can do them in videos all day long, but in
Oh,
written format it's like totally different.
stories are huge too. Like if you are someone who enjoys telling stories, like that, stories are gold for posts and for content. And again, it doesn't feel like marketing, right? Like, it's just you telling a story, and that's okay. Because just by you telling the story, you're sharing an experience with someone, and that's either going to, make them think about that topic differently. It's going to spark an idea. It's going to inspire them, motivate them, teach them a lesson, or it's just a way for them to connect with you and they just enjoyed hearing that story, and that's okay. So it serves many different purposes. And yeah, Jewel, I agree with you too. Like I'm really good at coming up with the how-to stuff as well, like that for videos, like how to do this, how to do that. That type of content, educational content. But when it comes to like how to think about a topic, or, changing the culture around topics I'm passionate about, sharing more of those thoughts doesn't come as easy. One other thing to try, for those of you who are listening, is if you're someone who journals, that is something that I can sometimes pull content from, because when I journal, I'm in more of a free flowing state of mind, and it doesn't really feel forced. It's just like you said, Jewel, it's like you're downloading, right? You're just like, comes naturally and easily. For me, like I'm in that state of flow when I'm just journaling, and I'm not thinking about like, oh, I'm journaling for social media content. No, that's never the case. It's just like I journal every morning. So it's just whatever, free flowing, I just write. And then sometimes I'll go back and take a look at what I wrote, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. Like this is a post. Like I can share this. It wasn't like, it wasn't forced. It just came naturally. And I think those also are like some of the best pieces of content that we digest, because it's just so authentic and it's nothing you've ever heard before. It's not like, people copying each other and posting. And yeah, Crystal says it can be stressful if you're posting daily, even weekly sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like 95% of the people, like every time we run into other entrepreneurs and events, they're like, oh, I hate posting, I hate social media.
Yeah.
Become this common thing.
Yeah. And I mean, I know that I'm not someone who can post daily, like every single day do a post. Like I already know that doesn't work for me. So again, it's coming back to like, what is the method, the process where you feel like you can do this consistently, and that is the place to start. And you may
One
not know what that is initially, but through trial and error, you kind of see what you can do.
one thing that I've done to make it easier, because I'm always like looking for keeping it simple, right? The phrase "keep it simple, stupid," right? It's so for me, like on Instagram, sometimes I'll just share a post, like I'll just share it in my story,
Hmm.
and in doing so, that shares my interests, it shares my thoughts, and I'll add like a little thing to it. Like there was one where Ice Cube was like, "Do not complain about the work you didn't do," and it was like had like a music thing. It was kind of like my vibe, so I clicked share, and then I went facts, because that's I'm sharing this other person's content, but in a sense it's coming from me because I'm like, I agree with that statement. Don't complain about the work you didn't do, you know?
Yes. Yeah, and you don't have to, like, it doesn't always have to be you coming
Yeah.
up with the content too. Remember that. Like we know someone on our team, she has her own Instagram. She's like really into health and that kind of thing. And she started her own Instagram just reposting people's content. Like that's her content. And she grew it to 1,000 followers pretty fast.
And she's
And
making Amazon affiliate sales.
yes, and she's making exactly. And it's just through posting other people's content. And some people are like, what, really? Like you just, repurposing content. And yeah, that's totally fine because you're a curator of content. And it doesn't matter if it's your own or someone else's, like you have this curation of content that people, if they enjoy that content, they're going to keep coming back. And that's what they're coming back for. So it doesn't matter who came up with it.
It's a whole
You're presenting that to them and and that's how they discovered it to begin with. So they're going to be grateful to you for that.
it's a whole way of they're called like theme pages or faceless channels. That
Mm-hmm.
it's a whole strategy online where people do not want to be the face, they do not want to be the brand, so they pick a theme, right? And in that case, that was Maria's Instagram, and it was the theme is health, right? Health and wellness. And so she's literally just sharing other people's stuff, and most people these days are cool with sharing, having you share their stuff because it promotes them as
Yeah.
well, right? So that's why YouTube created the whole remixes thing, and people can be part of your videos, and that's literally what's happening right now. And I've even seen big creators where they're like, hey everyone, if you share my, if you clip out a thing, just tag me, and then like I'll click hard on it, or I'll comment on it. Or I saw someone do like a draw where they're like, oh, the first 1,000 people that clip my video and reshare it gets entered in for I don't know what. But I was like, oh, that's they're so they're promoting, like almost copying, like not copying, but like duplicating it.
It's a win-win, right? Like it's a win for you because you have a piece of valuable content to share with your followers, but it's also a win for the person that you're sharing their content with because they're getting more eyes. So it's like it's great, and it's a win for the person who's seeing your content, right? Because hopefully it's valuable content. So yeah, don't be afraid to use other people's posts too that you find in your feed and you resonate with. That's also a great source of content.
Mm-hmm.
Crystal says, I definitely need structure. Yeah, I find having a structure when it comes to content creation and posting on social media allows me for more creativity. Like, for example, having not being too structured in terms of like, this is what the caption must be, this is how the video must be. But for example, YouTube, the structure for that is looking at my week ahead and setting a time slot or picking a time slot in my week where I'm going to come up with ideas for what videos to film. And then the other time slot I'm going to choose is when I'm going to film those video ideas. And when I'm planning my videos, that in itself also is a structure, but not too structured. Like, I don't actually write scripts for any of my videos, but I do like a point form, bullet form of what I want to talk about and touch upon. So, like, again, little bits of structure so that when it does come time to creating that content and releasing that content, you're setting yourself up for more flow. And again, it just comes with trying different things in terms of what works. Like, I tried filming videos in the evening at one time. It did not work for me. I tried filming 8 videos at once. It was like crazy overkill. So, through tweaking, through trying different things, it was like, okay, I know now that when I set time aside for filming videos, it needs to be earlier in the day. And my max is usually like 4 or 5 videos. And that feels good. I could push myself more, but like that's the sweet spot. So we each need to find our sweet spots when it comes to content creation.
We also worked the muscle of not necessarily needing a script. So I know that that's also another thing that people say that you should do is, oh, you should, do scripting and write it out. And I think that's sometimes can be good, but sometimes can be bad, because sometimes, like when you're reading a script, sometimes it's too scripted. Like you sound too robotic and you don't sound natural and authentic. And so we have worked the muscle of just working off of bullet points. We'll just do like a sentence, and that's why we're able to do a live stream like this. There's nothing, like I don't have any notes or anything. Reed just said, hey, we're talking about this, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then I can just talk about it. That's again, making it simpler, right? Keep it simple, stupid, making it simpler for myself, because if I had to write out a script, videos aren't going to get done. Like, I'm not going to be able to produce the amount of videos that we do. And it's going to cause like what do you call it? A bottleneck for me specifically. And I'm not really that good at writing. Like I know now ChatGPT is here, right? But here's the thing, everybody's using ChatGPT. Everybody's starting to sound like the same.
Yeah.
It's there's like the same kind. It's almost like, wait, that sounds like AI. So you're kind of getting this AI voice now.
Yeah.
I was like, I have to figure this out with my strengths of just speaking. And that has worked well for me. So you have to find the correct method for you. And the correct method will be only for you, because even a read is not exactly how I do, because I can film at night. I have no problem. I can go to 10 videos, and I like,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I had to figure out. I once filmed like, I don't know, 40 videos or something in a day.
Yeah. The course.
Crazy. And
Yeah.
then my all-time record was like 72 in 48 hours in 2 days.
My God. Oh,
So
thank you.
these were course videos, course lecture videos. And again, that was just like I was feeling the energy, making it simple. So I actually traveled to a different city called Whistler, and that is a mountainous resort type area where it's like more calming. It's out of the city, right? It's in nature basically. And so I knew I would be able to film courses because there's less distraction. There's not the city life. There's mountains and trees and animals and all that kind of stuff. So I knew that all those city distractions would not bother me. And so that's why you gotta find out what works for you. Now a lot of people would be like, oh, well, wasn't it a hassle to go all the way over there and film that? Here's the thing, if I didn't go over there, I probably wouldn't have filmed the 2 courses and a bunch of other videos for YouTube. I wouldn't have been able to film 72 or 75 videos. It was not to
Yeah.
mention Amazon influencer videos too. Like I think I did like over 100 or something.
It's a marketing expense, right? It's an investment. You can write it off in your business because it's like, this is, whatever works for you. Like, if you need to take yourself out of your current environment because it's not conducive to like allowing ideas to flow when it comes to creating content, go outside, set aside the time where like you just go out, maybe sit in the park or by the water, whatever the case might be. Coffee shop sometimes works for people, renting a hotel room, like whatever it is, if you know that something doesn't work for you, pivot, try something different. And that's the name of the game. Just keep pivoting until you find that sweet spot, right? That's all it is. And you mentioned AI, Jewel. I mean, that's another thing that if you haven't tried it, that is one way as well, one approach that could make it easier for you when it comes to create or what ideas to post. Because I mean, you can just easily go to ChatGPT and say, my audience, like for us, my audience wants to learn more about creating profitable content so that they can grow their business and make more money online. Give me 20 ideas for content posts or videos or whatever the case might be, right? And it'll give you a ton of ideas. The way that I found works best when it comes to using AI for content creation is thinking of it more like a creative partner, and bouncing ideas off of each other, AI and you, rather than just putting in a prompt and saying like, give me a post for this, and then copying and pasting it. Because, you can do that a couple times and post that, but over time, you're going to start to lose your voice. It's going to sound like AI and not you. And people are, like you said, like sometimes you can just tell.
As soon as it leash or unlock,
unlock, discover, right? There's certain words there. And I mean, it's a great jumping off point and starting off point, but you got to be the other creative partner in the process and make those tweaks so that it does sound more like you, so that it does say, what you want to, the messages that you want to convey to your audience. But yeah, just trying it out for like the ideation part of it. And you can ask it to write out full posts or full video scripts too, and it will do that. And using that as a starting off point, also, you can try that and see how that feels in terms of content creation.
Yeah, I think this is actually a good point to end it there. I think we gave like a lot of good points. And if you need to watch this again, definitely watch it again. But yeah, I think that was definitely jam-packed full of value.
Yes. See you then, everyone, and have a great rest of your evening. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.